Hello everyone, this is Sana Kulkarni. Today we will discuss the last concept of the chapter, that is nuclei, in this session 7. So first of all, in this session we will going to discuss regarding what is a nuclear reactor. So nuclear reactor, it is a device in which a nuclear fission is produced by controlled self-sustaining chain reaction, and in early days it was known as the atomic pile, and the first nuclear reactor that was built by Enrico Fermi and his associates in 1942. So nuclear reactor means it is one device in which the nuclear fission process that will be taken place, but it will be taken place with the help of the controlled chain reaction. So that is, we can call it as the nuclear reactor. And the construction, a schematic diagram of the nuclear reactor that is shown here. And the essential components of the nuclear reactor are the nuclear fuel, or generally we call it as fuel. Another one is a moderator, control rods, cooling system, or call it as coolant, and the neutron reflector, or generally we call it as a reflector, and the protective shield. So these are the 6 essential parts or the components of the nuclear reactor. So the diagram just to observe in here. In this case, the first one is the fuel, that is a nuclear fuel, that is shown in the fuel rods. The black color rods you are observing, they are called as the fuel rods or the nuclear fuel. Second one is the moderator. The diagram you can just observe the white patch, that is called as moderator. And next are the control rods. The control rods, the above they are there. Similarly, cooling system, that is nothing but the coolant, that coolant, pump, condenser, whatever they are used here, the cold water, that is all the purpose for the cooling system. And the neutron reflector, that neutron reflector, it is inside the chamber itself. And the next is the protective shield, or we can call it as the entire fusion chamber, or the protective shield, the upper side, the shielding purpose. In the diagram just you can observe the shield. So this is nothing but the diagram. So in this case, with the help of a fuel reactor, the nuclear reactors that will start to process the working process, means in this case the nuclear fission that will be produced. So the moderators, how they will work, we will explain now. Just to observe the diagram here. First one is the nuclear fuel. Nuclear fuel means the fissionable material which is used in the reactor, that is called as the nuclear fuel. Already you know, fissionable materials means the materials that readily undergo the fission, they are called as a fissionable material or the fissile material. Generally uranium 92-235, which is available as a natural fissile material, that they will use generally, they are called as. And similarly plutonium as well as uranium isotopes, they are artificially formed the fissile materials, they will used as a fuel for the nuclear reactor, and it is placed in the core of the reactor. The material that generally it is used is uranium, already we know. So the examples for it is uranium isotope, thorium isotope, as well as the plutonium isotope. These are the materials that is used as a fuel here. Next, coming to the second point, that is the moderator. Moderator means these are the materials which are used to slow down the neutrons to the thermal energies, that is for the low kinetic energy purpose we are using. Means the materials which use it to slow down the neutrons to the thermal energy, they are called as the moderators. The neutrons released in the fission, they have an energy of about 2 mega electron volt, that is the fast neutrons. But at these energies, what happens, the probability of these neutrons proceeding the further fission is less. So once they are the fast neutrons, the further fission process will be less, hence they can be slowed down by the thermal energy up to the rate of 0.05 electron volt. So their efficiency of producing the further fission is more. And the moderator, how it will work means it will absorbs the energy of the neutrons by elastic collision. So whenever it will absorbs the energy of the neutron, automatically the kinetic energy of the neutron coming to the lesser quantity, or it will be coming low. The material which is used as a moderator have a low atomic weight and should not absorb the neutrons. So it is not going to absorb entire neutron, but it has to absorb the energy of the neutrons. The commonly used moderator, what are the commonly used moderator means, or we can say the example for the moderator is water, or we can say heavy water also, that is D2O, and the graphite. So moderator, the main work of the moderator is to slow down the neutrons, because the fast moving neutrons, they are producing the energy of about 2 mega electron volt, but the further fission process is not taken place here. To slow down that neutrons, the moderators are used, and moderators, they will absorb the energy of the neutrons, and they will have the low kinetic energy for the neutrons. Next, coming to the third part, or some other explanation is given here, that is, after the emission of neutron in the first reaction they are having the higher kinetic energy, they are known as the fast neutrons, with an equivalent to the mass of 2 mega electron volt. And after slowdown by this process, the kinetic energy which is equivalent to 0.05 mega electron volt. Coming to the third one, that is the control rods. Control rods means these are the rods which are used to controlling the rate of the reaction or the rate of the fission. And the rods which are commonly made from the cadmium as well as the boron, and which absorbs the neutrons and controls the rate of fission, that is reaction, by moving these rods in and out of the core of the reactor. So in this case, what happens, the control rods, these are the rods which are used to controlling the rate of the reaction or rate of a fission. And the materials which are used here to control the rods, they can readily absorb the neutrons. Here they will absorb the neutron itself. They can't absorb the neutron energy, but they will absorb the neutrons. And the material that will be made up of, commonly it is cadmium as well as the boron. And by controlling the length of this rod, that is nothing but whenever you are moving inside as well as the outside into the core, that time the fission rate will be varied, that will be controlled here. So this is called as the controlled rod. Coming to the next part, cooling system, or we can call it as it is a coolant. So in this case, what happens, a large amount of energy that will be released in the fission process, and that will be in the form of a heat. So that will generate a more amount of heat, and that heat that will be utilized a large amount of energy that will be released during the fission, that will be appeared as a heat in the reactor core. And the cooling system that will helps to remove the heat. So the coolant that will be circulated through the core with the help of a coolant pump. In the diagram, just to observe there, a coolant pump, and the coolant that will absorbs the heat from the core and transfer it to the water in the heat exchanger. So as a result, a steam may be produced, which is used as a power reactor to drive the turbines and generate the electricity. The coolants which are used, generally the coolants which are used is the water, nitrogen as well as the carbon dioxide. These are the, similarly sometimes the heavy water, that is also used as a coolant. So coolant means whenever a nuclear fission process that will be taken place, a large amount of heat that will be produced in the entire reactor. To reduce that heat, the coolants are used, and the cooling system that will helps to remove the excess amount of heat that will be produced. So by circulating that coolant through the core with the help of a coolant pump, and the coolant that will absorbs the heat from the core and transfer it to the water. in the heat exchanger. So at a result, what happens? The steam also produced with a, which is used as a to generate the electricity. Here also I am given here in the reactor in the form of heat, and which is utilized to produce the electricity by circulating the material in the core, and that materials are called as the water, nitrogen, as well as the carbon dioxide, and sometimes the heavy water, that is also used as a coolant. Coming to the next part, that is a reflector. So reflector means the surface of a reactor chamber which is coated with a material which can be reflect back the neutrons leaking out. So graphite, that is commonly used as a reflector. So reflector means the surface of a reactor that will be coated with certain material. So because of that material, what happens, the neutrons which are leaked out or which are going outside, that will be reduced here, that will be reflect back, and the fission process that will be continuously taken place. So for that, the material which is used to reflect, or which is generally which is used, that we can call it as a reflector. So graphite is most probably they are using, the graphite is oftenly used as a material for this purpose, that is a reflecting material they will use. Coming to the last part of the nuclear reactor, that is called a shield. A shield, it is nothing but it is a protecting wall which is of 2 meter thickness and which is made up of concrete. So there is another shield inside the reactor made up of steel or iron of thickness of few inches. So because of what, a shield is nothing but it is a protective, or which will provide around the reactor core for preventing the intense harmful radiation which are coming out from the reactor, and which will used to consist of a layer of concrete that is of about 2 meter thickness. And in high power reactor, there will be another shield inside the core that will be consist of the steel as well as the iron, which is of few thickness, or which is of the thickness of few inches. So this is nothing but the shield. So these are the whatever the elements which are using in the nuclear reactors with their explanation. Coming to the next one, that is the nuclear fusion. So nuclear fusion, it is the process of combining two lighter nuclei into the stable heavier nucleus with liberating an enormous amount of energy. So what is the example for that? The example for the fusion process that will be given by, that is 1H1, that is hydrogen, plus 1H1, that will gives you 1H2 plus a positron plus a gamma plus 0.42 mega electron volt, that is in case of a beta decay. Then 1H2 plus 1H2, that will gives you 2He3 plus 1 neutron plus 3.27 mega electron volt, that is a gamma decay process. And 1H2 plus 1H2 gives you 1He3 plus 1H1 plus 4.03 mega electron volt. So this is what we can say, that is when a 4 hydrogen, that is 1H1 nucleus, they will fuse together, the reaction will be followed here, and we will get it as it is 26.7 mega electron volt energy that can be released here. How it will be possible, we will show here next time in the next video. So with the help of this, we can say that the nuclear fusion that can be explained with the help of a concept of binding energy per nucleon of very light nuclei as well as an intermediate nuclei. Already we know the binding energy per nucleon of very light nuclei is very less, and compared to the intermediate nuclei. So for a light nuclei as well as the heavier nuclei, the binding energy per nucleon is less compared to the intermediate nuclei. So it means what? The light nuclei are less stable than that of an intermediate nuclei. So this shows that the sum of the masses of the individual nuclei is more than the mass of the nucleus which is formed by their fusion. So the difference in the mass, that is nothing but the mass defect, is released in the form of energy. Thus the nuclear fusion, it is an exothermic nuclear reaction. Already we discussed this whenever we have studied regarding the binding energy as well as the binding energy curve. Already we know this. So the nuclear fusion, that is also one form of an exothermic reaction. And nuclear fusion, it is also known as thermonuclear reaction. What is thermonuclear reaction now? So the nuclear fusion that can be achieved at a very high temperature. How much high temperature means? Of 10 to the power of 7 Kelvin, means a temperature which is required of about 10 to the power of 7 Kelvin, then the nuclear fusion process will be taken place. Therefore it is known as a thermonuclear reaction, and this much temperature is available only in the core of a sun as well as the other stars. So nuclear fusion is possible in case of sun as well as the other stars. And similarly, one more point you remember, energy released by the fusion is greater than the energy released by the fission. So energy released by fusion is almost greater as compared to the energy released by the fission process. Next we will discuss regarding what is energy generation in case of stars or the stellar energy. So stellar energy, it is the energy that is obtained from the sun and the stars. So in the sun or in a sun core, heavy elements which are present in a very small quantity, whereas hydrogen and helium that will be constitute about the 90% of sun's mass. Hence the source of energy is some nuclear process involving hydrogen as well as the helium. So this process can be represented by the reaction sets of proton-proton cycle. So here the two types of cycles that will be taken place. One is proton-proton cycle and another one is the carbon-nitrogen cycle. How it will be possible, just we can see with the help of a cycle. That is 1H1 plus 1H1 gives equal to 1H2 plus 1 positron plus a gamma, or sorry, gamma, it is not gamma, it is an neutrino plus 0.42 mega electron volt. This is nothing but our beta plus decay process, plus the same thing it will be possible, one positron as well as one electron gives rise to 2 gamma plus 1.02 mega electron volt. It is nothing but the gamma decay process. And again 1 H2 plus 1 H1, that will gives you 2 He3 plus gamma plus 5.49 mega electron volt. Then we will observe it as 2 He3 plus 2 He3, that will gives you 2 He4 plus 1 H1 plus 1 H1 plus 12.86 mega electron volt. So what happens, the total energy released in proton-proton cycle, that is of 18.77 mega electron volt, and the two protons, they are produced in the total process, and which repeats the cycle and continues the reaction, and which liberate a large amount of energy, that is called as the stellar energy. And the above equation we can shorten it as 4H1 plus 2 electron, then it will gives as 2 He4 plus 2 nu, that is 2 neutrino plus 6 gamma plus 26.7 mega electron volt. Means thus 4 hydrogen atoms, they will combine to form a 2 helium, that is helium atom, with a release of 26.7 mega electron volt of energy. So this is what the first one only we have taken in the nuclear fusion. This reaction is taken, that is 4H1, with the help of this, that's 26.7 mega electron volt. The same nuclear fusion process that will be taken place in case of sun as well as the stars. So in 1938, Hans Bethe has proposed a set of nuclear reactions for the energy produced in the sun and the other similar stars, that is known as carbon-nitrogen cycle. So one more cycle it is there, that is called as carbon-nitrogen cycle. how this cycle it will be there, how the energy will be liberated. Just see here, C612 plus 1 H1, that will gives you, that is 7N13, that is nitrogen 713 plus a positron plus Q1 means the amount of energy it will be released in the first step. Coming to the next step, that is N713, whenever it will loses a proton, that is C613 plus 1 proton plus the amount of energy, that will be Q2. And next is C613 plus 1 H1 again, then it will gives you, that is N714 plus Q3, the amount of energy released. Then coming to the next step, that is N714 plus 1 H1, that will gives you O815 and the Q4 amount of energy. Similarly, O815, whenever it loses a proton, so that is N715 plus 1 proton is liberated plus Q5, that is amount of energy. Therefore, the last step of this process, that will be N715 plus 1 H1, again it will come back with a C612 plus 1 H1 is replaced by now 2 He4 plus this Q5. So this is what the carbon nitrogen cycle. So this type of processes that will be taken place in case of the stars as well as the sun, and the amount of energy that will be released here. Therefore, the total amount of energy in this process that will be released is 26.7 mega electron volt. Similarly, we can say the last one of this chapter is the controlled thermonuclear reaction. So whatever the nuclear fusion we are using, the controlled thermonuclear reactions or the thermonuclear fusion, what is that? Just we can see here. So it is very difficult to build a controlled thermonuclear fusion power source, because the fission process will be taken place very easily, but the fusion process, it is very difficult. So fusion reactor are considered as a source of power for the future. Many countries of the world, including India, are trying to build such a source of power. So the main requirements of the controlled fusion reactor are, the first one is high temperature. Already we know the nuclear fusion, it is a thermonuclear reaction because it requires a more amount of heat, that is of the order of 10 raised to 7, that is minimum. So high temperature, which is of the order of 10 raised to 10 amount of Kelvin, that will be needed for the particles to fuse together. But at this temperature, the source of deuterons, they will form a natural plasma. So that is one difficulty. Similarly, second one is high number density of particles that is required for the high collision rate of deuterons with deuterons again. And similarly, the long duration of high temperature as well as high number density is required, so the particles may fuse together, because the fusion process, it is not taken place a very short interval of time, because it will take a very long time. So because of long duration of high temperature as well as high number of density of particles, they will start to fuse. And although source of deuteron, that is a deuterium, that is required as a fusion fuel, but it is limitedly available in the seawater. Yet it is almost impossible to fulfill the above mentioned condition in a pot of any solid material. So some extraordinary means are being tried to contain these reactions. So therefore, the controlled thermonuclear fusion, that will be in the process, but yet we are not getting any results for this. So this completes the chapter nuclei. Just go through the video.